Welcome back to Man Down Sports. As you can see from the thumbnail, Draymond Green and his suspension, indefinite suspension, is going to be the topic of discussion. And we live today, so uh, we can read the comments. Y'all can go in the comment section and give y'all thoughts, man. Y'all man. I even open the phone lines up. Y'all can call in and all that stuff, man. Cause I think this is a good conversation to have. There's a lot of people on either side of the fence with when it comes to this Draymond thing, and they've been on either side of the fence with Draymond in general, like everything that Draymond has done over the last 2 years, whether it's the stomp on Sabonis' chest, the punch on Jordan Poole, or the Rudy Gobert choke, and now the smackdown on Yusuf Nurkic. It splits the room in half. It's some people who applaud it, almost laugh at it, think it's good for the game, think it's something that you soft if you don't accept that type of play on the court and all this stuff, and like that's how a lot of people approach the conversation, and I just don't understand that side of it. I don't understand how any of this could be celebrated. I really don't, and I don't understand how can it be explained away and all that stuff, man. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about the situation itself, the suspension, and then we're gonna get down into like how the Warriors have enabled all of this, and when did it start? When did it actually get bad and cross the line to the point where the Warriors should have actually stepped in and did something, right? We're gonna talk about all that stuff, man, and then we're gonna end it off with some football. I ain't gonna keep y'all too long, man, but I do want to hear what y'all gotta say and in the comment section and stuff like that. We do have a sponsor for this episode. The sponsor is Underdog Fantasy. So here's a word from the sponsor. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy sports. I want to tell you about the easiest way to get in on some NBA action with Underdog Fantasy and their pick'em game. Just find your favorite player, or any player for that matter, pick higher or lower on that player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in one night. Pick between 2 or 5 players to fill your pick'em entry. Get every pick right, and you can net yourself some serious cash. Use the promo code ManDownSports, and you can get your deposit doubled up to $100. You got to check on the map to make sure your state is eligible to play Underdog Fantasy. But as soon as you do, and if your state is, go ahead and download Underdog Fantasy's app. Use the promo code ManDownSports, and you can, like I said, you can get that $100 match on your first deposit. And I would want to thank Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring Man Down Sports. All right, so let's start with the Phoenix game. Let's start with Nurkic. And it's been a couple of days, so it's been sound bites all over the place. I'm not gonna pay for all those sound bites. I do have something that KD said yesterday after their game when he was asked about it once the suspensions was announced. But specifically just on that game, they were winning the game. And what Draymond did was 100% unnecessary, right? His explanation for it after the game was that Nurkic was pulling on his waist and he was trying to sell a foul call. So he's basically admitting to trying to flop, which is something that you get fined for, and it's a technical foul now. So you can't flop. So he's admitting, I was flopping, I was trying to sell a call, and I sell calls with my arms. I don't fall on the ground. I sell calls with my arms, and I accidentally hit him. When you hear him saying that, it kind of takes you back to every time he's flopped like a fish like that and threw his arms up or threw his legs up. This is what people was talking about when he kicked Steven Adams in the balls. That was a situation where I think Steven Adams stripped for the ball when he was going up, and he lost the ball, and he just threw his arms and his legs and ended up kicking him in the balls. Now, I'm not saying he was targeting his balls, but he's definitely trying to make contact when he's flopping and doing his arms like that. That's definitely not a basketball play, and that's not nothing that's like a reaction. That's him actually. I don't know. He's just flopping and throwing his arms, and he know he's going to hit somebody. So when you look at all of those things in the past, he's done it a lot. He's flopped, he's threw his arms, and he always try to knock someone down, hit somebody, make contact, be physical with them, and make it seem like it's a mistake. He's always throwing rocks and hiding his hands. He always want to make it seem like a mistake what I did, So when you add all of that up and you start looking at all that, when he first started doing it, maybe it was a mistake. When he kicked the dude in the butt after he lost the ball, he kicked somebody in the butt, by doing that same flop. He's done some, like, he hit LeBron in the nuts with his hand with that same flop. Like, everything is, I'm throwing my arms and I'm gonna hit you, and I have the perfect excuse why I hit you, because I was flopping, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? So he's been doing that. That's his move. His move is to throw his arms and legs in a wild way, hoping to make contact with somebody, and he does it out of frustration a lot of times. And I think in the situation with Nurkic, I think he done it out of frustration, but I think he also really wanted to hit Nurkic, and I think that's obvious. So for him to go to the podium and then try to, and then this is the crazy thing. Right after the game, the Warriors announced that Draymond Green was not going to be available for post-game interviews. So I think the Warriors knew it's best for us not to put Draymond out there. We're not going to send him out there. But in Draymond's mind, and his way, because he's such a good talker, he's a likable guy, and I think he believes in his voice so much that he think he can talk his way out of situations. And I think that he forced his way out there on that podium so he can get out there and get ahead of everything, because he knew a suspension was going to be talked about. And I think he thought that something that he could say would soften the blow. And he went out there and he put on his best face. He apologized right away, and all of that stuff, because of course everything he's done before this he was unapologetic for. And I think that when he got suspended for the Gobert thing, he had a meeting with Adam Silver and Joe Dumars, and I think that's something that they went over. And he probably went in there in his full strength, saying he's not apologetic for it because I was protecting my teammate, and then they gave him the suspension. So he knows that I can't go in there unapologetic again. So he tried to get ahead of it, apologize to Nurkic on during a post game, and then throw out his explanation that he was trying to sell a foul call and he did it by mistake and all that stuff. And the NBA didn't buy it. Joe Dumars didn't buy it. Adam Silver didn't buy it. I don't think anybody bought that. I don't know one person that has bought that's in the media or in the NBA circles. Not even the people like Gilbert Arenas, who always spoke up for Draymond and protected him and excused him for everything he did. Not even he bought that. Everyone know that was a purposeful hit, right? So here's what Kevin Durant said about it when he was asked about it.
Chance, obviously, to ask you yesterday about Draymond and Nurkic. What was your reaction to that and Draymond giving the indefinite suspension?
Yeah, that was insane to see. Glad Nurkic's all right. Never seen that before on the basketball court in the NBA game. I hope Draymond gets the help he needs. It's been incident after incident. So I know Draymond, and that's not, he hasn't been that way when I was around him and coming into the league. So hopefully he gets the help he needs and get back on the court and, put all this stuff behind him.
Thanks, Captain. Thank you.
So the key words what he said is for one, he hoped Draymond get the help he need. Everybody keeps saying that, and I think that's really messing everything up, because everyone is trying to point to the mental stability or or whatever headspace he's in right now. Everyone is pointing to that, and what Kevin Durant was saying is like, I've been around Draymond. He hasn't been like that. Like that's not how he was when I was around him. But he said now it's been incident after incident, a chokehold, a slap in the face, or open hand punch, whatever you want to call it. Stomping people in the chest. Like, this stuff is getting outrageous. Like, it's getting outrageous. It just looks bad. And Steve Kerr honestly spoke about it, the chokehold, and said it looks bad for the league. So you are embarrassing the league. The league is telling you, look, we don't want this. We don't want to put that product out there. Like, what that thing that you're doing, we're not for it. We're suspending you 5 games for this. Don't do it again. You got teammates like Steph telling them, like, you're hurting the team by doing this. And he's been hurting the team for a while. He's been hurting the team since the championship, the finals. He was hurting the team during the finals. They had to bench Draymond, and it was his play on the court that was hurting the team first, before his antics started hurting the team. He's always had these antics with him. It did cost them a 3-1 lead against the Cavs in the finals, so they blame him from that. But I'm gonna actually break down everything from the beginning, the downward spiral of Draymond Green once we get to speaking about how the Warriors play a part in it. But I just say this right now. He did have incidents, but his play on the court exceeded the negativity of the incidents. So the positive he did on the court and the positive leader he was in the locker room as far as getting guys motivating, getting them in spots and places where they need to be and getting them in the right headspace. Like, yeah, that stuff was valuable to the Golden State Warriors, and it was definitely valuable to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, because they needed that offset, that type of personality to offset the type of personality they have. And same thing with Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr has that same personality. Like, he ain't the type of dude that's gonna go in there and lay down the law. He's not a Pat Riley type guy. He's not a Phil Jackson type guy, right? He'll rather not clash with his players. And if he go clash with anybody, it ain't gonna be Draymond. He'll let Bob Myers do that for him. I don't think Kerr has that type of bone in his body. And that's why Kerr keeps saying, we are not a championship team without Draymond. We can't win without Draymond. We need Draymond. It ain't got nothing to do with him on the floor. His on the floor stuff is actually probably a negative. If you really look at it, he's having a decent year shooting this year. He's shooting the free throws and 3-pointers at a high clip this year. But as far as his play on the court, you can replace it. You really could. I think why Steve Kerr keeps saying we need Draymond is because everybody that is a leader in that locker room and on that coaching staff, whether it's Steve Kerr, whether it's Klay or Steph, they don't have the personality to lead troops and different personalities and different stars, and they don't have that type of personality or that leadership ability to do it. So they want Draymond to do it for them. And that's an issue. Like that's really an issue, because when have a role player, like I want you to think about it, like people keep bringing up Rodman's name when they talk about Draymond. It's two differences between Rodman. Rodman was never a leader of the team. He was never the locker room leader. And he was never getting paid like he was a co-star or a superstar. He never got that type of money. Draymond is getting superstar money, and he's a role player, and he's not the leader of the team. He's not. But they keep saying he is, because the real leader, which is Steph Curry, I guess he's lacking something that Draymond Green has that I guess is necessary. And the coach is lacking it as well. And the co-star is lacking it as well. That is the weirdest dynamic I've ever seen in my life. And when you look at the Bulls and Rodman situation, Phil Jackson's personality was such that he walked in on day one and told Michael Jordan, I'm taking the ball out of your hand. You're not the point guard anymore. I'm putting in this triangle offense. You will learn it. Michael Jordan hated that. He told the GOAT that. So that's Phil Jackson's personality. And as far as Michael Jordan, he kept everyone in check in that locker room. He was the locker room leader in there. He was the team leader. Pippen was the second guy. Pippen showed that he can lead that 1 year when Jordan left. Rodman was never that. When Rodman was in Detroit, the leader was Isaiah. When he was in San Antonio, the leader was definitely David Robinson. Rodman has never led a team. No one has ever said Rodman is so important we can't lose him. The Spurs traded Dennis Rodman for Will Perdue. Detroit let him walk. He showed up to the Bulls under some good leadership, and he gets 3 straight rings. Your role players are not your leaders. So this dynamic, I don't understand. I've never seen this before, where the coach, the co-star, and the superstar is so weak-minded that they would put up with a guy that's detrimental to their team, that's hurting their team, and not giving much value on the floor because they can't lose his locker room presence. That is the craziest thing I ever heard. And I think that's why Bob Myers left the Golden State Warriors, because Bob Myers had cojones. And Bob Myers wanted to move on from Draymond several times. He was ready to choose Kevin Durant over Draymond. but Kevin Durant left. So they went on and gave Draymond a contract. Let's keep the ball rolling. Then he drafted well. He got Wiseman in there. He got Moody. He got Jordan Poole. Went and got GP2. Made a trade for Wiggins. We back in it now. Then they win a championship despite Draymond, because Draymond didn't offer them much of anything in that Boston series, except I want to say maybe game 2 when he went out there and played sandlot football on the floor and the referees allowed it. He played sandlot football. That's all he offered them. He had no basketball attributes that could actually help them. All he could do was go out there and what people call an enforcer, go out there and knock people to the ground and muck the game up that way. That's all you got to offer, and that's worth $100 million, and we can't afford to lose you. That's nonsense. That's an indictment on your star player Steph Curry and your head coach, where your head coach say, out of all the people in this locker room, if we lose Draymond, we're not a championship contender no more. You got Stephen Curry, who everyone is saying is a top 10 player of all time. I don't believe he's top 10. More like top 20, top 15-ish maybe. But you got everyone saying he's a top 10 player of all time, and he's still playing like he's in his prime. And you are a head coach on national television telling everyone, if we lose this role player, the season is over, the run is over. We can't even compete without Draymond. And then you look at his stats and you see that he's averaging 8 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 fouls a game. And you like, what about 8 points, 8 rebounds we can't replace? And then you start thinking, okay, so him as a locker room guy and as a leader, is that what's important? And that's worth $100 million, and he's a role player. Okay, so we're paying Steph Curry almost $60 million a year. We're paying Klay $40 million a year, and you telling me that we can't lose Draymond? If I'm the owner, I'm paying you as a head coach. You getting top-notch dollar, and I'm paying Steph Curry close to being the highest paid player in the league, and then I'm paying Klay number 1 money. Like Klay is getting the type of money that Dame Lillard is getting. You telling me that Dame Lillard and Klay is on the same level pay wise, but you go come to me and tell me we can't lose Draymond? As an owner, I'm saying, well, look, if you can't coach Steph Curry and let Bob Myers as a GM find a way to rebuild around Steph Curry without Draymond, if you can't figure that out as a coach, I have to find a new coach. That's been 100%. Draymond's skills have deteriorated significantly, and I think he knows that. I agree, and this is why he is acting out like this. I agree. Charles Barkley said the same thing. He said the toughest thing as a star player, which Draymond never was, but the toughest thing as a star player, superstar, is when his body fails him and he can't do the same things he used to do, or just Father Time catches up with you and you don't have it no more. And it's tough because you get in this situation now, because what naturally is supposed to happen when you are a role player who starts deteriorating physically or skill wise, you're supposed to go to the bench and continue to be a valuable asset to the team and the young guys that are now holding the torch now, which is what Iguodala did for Draymond, which is what David West did for Draymond. David West is a far better player than Draymond. Iguodala is a far better player than Draymond. And West is a power forward who came over and decided, hey, look, it ain't my world no more. I'm the old head, I'm the vet. I'm gonna show y'all how to do it, right? But I'm gonna play my position. I'm gonna fall back, and I'm gonna let y'all start. Y'all get the minutes. It's y'all turn to get the money. I already had 2 huge contracts. It's y'all turn now. That's how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to be willingly to fall back and allow the youngsters to carry the torch. And when your number is called, you got to be ready. You're the vet. If I'm expecting a guy to be on the bench that can just jump off the bench and be ready, I'm expecting it to be a veteran, not a young guy. They're doing it in reverse now with the Warriors. They bought the young guys in that's supposed to come in and now get the minutes and the money, while they fall back and do what Iguodala and David West did for them. Right? That's what they were supposed to do. But they got selfish. They got entitled because, hey, look, man, we bought y'all 4 rings. We deserve another huge contract. This is what they're asking for, Klay Thompson and Draymond. We deserve another $100 million contract in our old age where we can't even give you the same thing no more. And they're looking at Steve Kerr and saying we deserve the minutes as well. They don't even want the young guys to develop. They want the young guys to stay on the bench where they supposed to be. You're supposed to be falling back and letting them young guys get out there and get those contracts and get those minutes. But they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. And then turn around and tell the young guys they're not doing enough. And now it's all starting to show out. And like this person said, yeah, Draymond Green is acting out because he can't do it from a basketball perspective anymore. Draymond for Zach LaVine, I don't know why the Bulls would do that though. I really don't know why the Bulls would do that. I don't understand. I don't like, this is 4 years. He got 4 more years left on his contract. You see what he can offer you on the court. It's not much. And $100 million, $100 million, right? So, and then Klay's asking for probably something similar. He's making 43 now. He's in the contract year, and his agent. Shams Charania just reported that he turned down a 2-year extension for 48 mil. So that he would have been making 24 mil a season, which is half of what he's getting now, almost half. And he turned that down. Now I want more. They both after they got beat by the Lakers, I think they got swept in the playoffs. The first thing they was talking about is Draymond and Klay want a new contract and they're not taking no discounts, right? They didn't come out here and say this publicly, but reporters that on 95-7, if the game 95-7 the game radio station, they got a YouTube channel. If you go there, you hear a lot of the insider talk, right? And the talk was immediately after Draymond and Klay both knew that they wanted to stay in Golden State. They wanted a contract. They said they wanted to match their contract with the years of Steph Curry so they can all go out together. That's the plan. Steph, Dre, Klay all want to go out the same year together, but Draymond and Klay both said they're not giving any hometown discounts. They want their money. They want that bread. So Steph got $100 million. Klay has always out-earned Draymond. Not Steph, but Draymond got $100 million. Klay has always out-earned Draymond. So if Draymond got $100 million 4 years, Klay probably want 120 for 4 years. Or maybe he want the 100 for less years for 3 years because that'll put him it'll match him up with the years with Steph and Draymond. Because after this year, Draymond only had 3 years left, and so was Steph. So maybe he was looking for $100 million 3 years, right? That puts Joe Lacob and the Warriors at over the luxury tax mightily because they still got CP3 there. Put them over the luxury tax mightily. They're going to be paying so much money in taxes because they're over the salary cap, and for a team that you're paying that much for their salary, you have to be making it to the finals. Like, you can't justify that to a team owner that, hey, we went out and we spent this much money on these players, but these players can't even get us out of the second round. You can't tell an owner that, right? So the Draymond for Zach LaVine, the Bulls, what did they get out of that? I mean, they get off the Zach LaVine contract. I think they done with Zach LaVine. They realized that the pairing of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine didn't actually fit. But I think the Lakers can give them something better for Zach LaVine. I think the Lakers they missing another wow factor guy that's young. That's why they was trying to get Kyrie, right? I think Zach LaVine will give that to him. Highlight, young, can shoot it, fast, gives them some speed and stuff like that. A little bit different than what D'Lo gives them. So I could see them packaging D'Lo. I could see them packaging Rui Hachimura, whatever, Rui Hachimura, right? They can package him, who is a physically big guy, bigger than Draymond. I think he's about 6'9". Young, got years ahead of him, and can shoot it, play defense, rebound, all of that, right? So if I could give you D'Lo and Rui, and the reason why the Lakers could give up Rui is because they got Vanderbilt and they got Who's the other guy? Tayshaun Prince, Torian Prince. They got Torian Prince, Vanderbilt, and Rui. All three of those guys are kind of fighting for minutes. They kind of play the same position. They're small forwards, can play a little power forward. Vanderbilt and Prince can play a little bit of two if they need to, but they're forwards. And they got to find minutes for both of them. And they all three play good defense. And Vanderbilt plays the best defense out of it. They love Vanderbilt. But Vanderbilt don't give you the shooting that a Torian Prince does. So they got to make a decision. It's going to be one of those guys. But would you rather have Prince, Rui, and D'Lo for LaVine, or would you rather have Draymond for LaVine? And mind you, if you package those three guys, if you package up those three guys, they might not even make as much as Draymond as one person. They might be slightly above with their contracts. Right. So I mean, yeah, if I'm the Bulls, I'm definitely not looking at Draymond. I don't think there is a team other than Golden. Like Draymond's worst thing that can happen to him was to get that $100 million contract, because there's no contender that can afford to give Draymond that money just for him to come in and give you the same thing that Jay Crowder gives you on a team. I'm gonna play a defense. I can switch screens. I can guard the post, and and for Jay Crowder, I can knock down the open three. So I can at least spread the floor. Draymond Green not spreading the floor, right? So, I would love to have Draymond on my team, because he's a rah guy and he's a glue guy, but not for $100 million. I couldn't do it for $100 million. If I could have got Draymond for a lot less than that, then yeah, he's a great guy. So I don't see a contender. Name a contender that'll trade for him and pay him that. I mean, Jeff Green gave great minutes to Denver last year. Defense, as far as being a glue guy, man, he was the guy before they went on their run that kind of got the cohesiveness together for the squad. He organized team dinners and stuff like that. Like, he was the big vet there, and he did it without knocking none of the young guys out or telling them I need the huge contract and I need the minutes. And he was cheap. So Denver had a guy like that. You don't think Denver would give $100 million to Draymond? Aaron Gordon gives me way more than Draymond gives me, and he's not knocking nobody out. so yeah, Draymond's stuck. The Warriors might be stuck too, because they might not be able to offload. Well, they probably will be able to offload on somebody like Detroit. Detroit might take them. They ain't winning no games, but that's basketball Siberia for Draymond, for anybody that's used to winning, right? So yeah, a non-contender might pay him that money, not a contender, right? So there was a Grayson Allen little debacle that was going on while he was at Duke, right? Grayson Allen had a bad habit of doing a lot of dirty plays. He would clip people, he would hip check people and try to make it seem like he didn't do it. It was an accident. And we all knew it wasn't an accident, right? Very similar to Draymond. Draymond, all these hits that he's doing on people, he has the perfect excuse. I was protecting my team. He called me the B word. He deserved it. It was an accident. I was selling the foul. I didn't do that on purpose. You know what I mean? So he always got this perfect excuse, but he's always hitting people. Like, you're always hitting people, but it's always some other circumstance on why you hit him by mistake. You didn't mean it. It wasn't your intent. All this crazy stuff, right? I'm trying to figure out when it was his fault. So we knew Grayson Allen was doing it on purpose, even though he was always a mistake. And maybe it was like a little knee jerk slip up, but you gotta fix that. Like, even if you are like, I ain't really mean to stick my leg out and clip him, it just like in a split second, I just did it. One time is all right, we'll buy it. 2, 3, 4 times. All right, man. Look, man, you come on. So he done it 4 times, 5 times maybe at Duke, and Coach K had to sit him down. Coach K said he need to go get help. Coach K said, look, man, you need to go talk to somebody. And his stock fell. People didn't want to take a chance on this kid, and he was playing really good ball at Duke. Defender, smart, can get to the hole, athletic, can shoot. played in the Duke system for Coach K. You know, this is supposed to be a draft pick that you want. His stock fell. So he paid the price for it. And Coach K didn't enable him. Coach K, you know, after it got too obvious, all right, man, I got to sit you down. The NCAA didn't sit him down. Coach K did. Coach K stepped in and sat Grayson Allen down. Coach K stepped in and said, you got to fix this. And then Grayson Allen came back and he, you know, started working on cleaning his image up. You know, he gets drafted, not where he wanted to get drafted, but he gets drafted. And I think he was good for a while, but he had another incident, I think, when he was with Milwaukee of some foul that was, you know, deemed dirty. And then, you know, people started bringing back his old stuff from Duke and saying, oh man, it's, you know, it's the same pattern and stuff like that. But other than that, it hasn't been anything, you know. So you could say Grayson Allen has turned over a new leaf, man. He's to the point now where he's not known for those things anymore. And time heals all wounds, especially if you don't continue to give people new things to think about and new things to attach to what your past is that you're trying to detach from. So I give Grayson Allen kudos for that. I give Coach K kudos for that. I don't think that the Warriors are doing such a good job as far as what they're doing. Right. So with this suspension, supposedly it's indefinitely, and the last indefinite suspension we seen was Kyrie Irving, and we already know how that went. I think I don't know if the team or the NBA suspended Kyrie Irving, but the team or you know, Joe Tsai and Sean Marks are the one who put together that checklist for him to complete before he can come back to the team. You need to go pay this to the Anti-Defamation League, ADL. Go pay this much to him, $500,000, I think. Go and meet with this rabbi, learn about the Jewish community. Go do this community service. Take down the tweet. Do that. Like, he had a whole checklist that he had to complete just to come back. And even after he completed it, they still wasn't lifting the suspension until fans applied pressure and said, what the hell are y'all doing? And then everybody who was coming down on him, like Stephen A. Smith and all these people, they even came to his defense and was like, what the hell are y'all doing? The checklist already was horrible. And then everybody tried to start explaining, like, you know, the ADL was like, we didn't tell him to do that. That was the team that told him to do that. My point is this: the Warriors have never come up with any punishment for anything that Draymond Green has done. That's almost like if I'm trying to raise, I don't know, let's for lack of a better example, let's say a kid. I'm trying to raise a kid, and when my kid does something bad, I won't take ownership and give him consequences or give her consequences. I let some outside entity do it, or I let some person above me, like my parents, do it. I don't want to do it. Mom, dad, you give him the punishment. And that's what it's like when the Warriors are saying, okay, you did this thing that hurt the team, but if the NBA don't suspend you or the NBA don't punish you, we're not going to punish you. We still want you to play. We still want you to participate on ring night and all these things. Like, and I think that they're enabling in them. They're enabling in Draymond Green. Not just the Warriors, but the fans that keep laughing at what he's doing, like it's something that you can just brush over and you don't see the issues that's going on. So that's why I brought up the Grayson Allen thing. I think Grayson Allen was able to turn his stuff around real quick because his team, you know, kind of nipped it in the bud early instead of letting it fester and go on and create this animal. And that's where Golden State comes in. And that's why I want to come down from the beginning of when this thing started, the downward spiral, right? So if you go all the way back to that first championship, Draymond was Draymond. I don't see anything wrong with what he was doing. He was playing physical basketball, and you know, he was the best version of himself, basketball wise and you know, personality wise, right? When he got that sense of entitlement, where he felt as important as a Clay or Steph or even a KD, he felt as important. He felt more important to the team than Kevin Durant when Kevin Durant came. Like he felt more important than Kevin Durant. Like you got to feel more important when you tell someone we won without you, we don't need you. Like when you tell someone that because he told you that was a bad turnover, you should have gave the rock up. Like this is what I do. You do what you do. I don't step in your lane. Don't step in mine. I hit game winners. You don't. Get a rock up, right? So for you to have the audacity to tell somebody like Kevin Durant, who was the best player in the league at that time, depending on where you view him and LeBron, we don't need you. We won without you. You won one ring without him. And you won that ring because Kyrie Irving broke his kneecap and Kevin Love tore his shoulder up the series before, and LeBron was playing against y'all by himself. And y'all beat that Cavs team. And then you came back, and when that Cavs team was healthy, you couldn't beat them. And then you went and begged Kevin Durant to come and join you, and then he got y'all back to the finals, and it wasn't even a matchup because he was so much better than anybody else on the floor. So you don't turn around and tell that guy, hey, look, man, because what really would have happened if Kevin Durant never would have joined the Golden State Warriors, and if he stayed in OKC, the free agents that was available at that time, maybe they snag one of them, maybe they get better. What I do know is that with Kevin Durant and Westbrook, the way they was constructed that season, they had a 3-1 lead on the Warriors. They choked it up. The Warriors lost in the finals, and they used Harrison Barnes as a scapegoat. So Harrison Barnes was looking for a new contract. They wasn't going to give it to him, so he was going to be gone. So the Golden State Warriors was going to lose Harrison Barnes. I don't know who they was going to replace him with. Maybe they just slide Iguodala in there in the starting lineup and roll. Maybe they ask somebody in free agents. I don't know. I don't know what they would have got. There was no other bigger free agent than Kevin Durant, so you ain't gonna get that. So who knows what they would have got? But we know if Kevin Durant would have stayed in OKC, he could have added something to OKC in free agency. And when he faced the team that he had down 3-1 last year, he probably gets it done this year. So Kevin Durant probably would have been against Cleveland in the finals if he stayed in OKC, right? So that dynasty that they claim they got now would have been over. They would have been looking for answers. Draymond would have never got a huge contract. They would have been trying to refigure out how to get back to the finals, right? Or Kevin Durant could have left OKC and went somewhere else. He always wanted to play with James Harden. He liked playing with James Harden in OKC. He could have went to Houston. Because I want to say I think that was the year that Houston got CP3. Kevin Durant could have been like, nah, I'm going over there with James Harden. I'll join with him. He could have went to Houston. And we know even with Kevin Durant on Golden State's team, Houston took them to 7 games in Western Conference Finals. Harden was a handful for them. And that's with KD. 7 games. And it took CP3 to tear up his quad for them to lose to Golden State. So imagine if Kevin Durant goes to Houston and the Golden State Warriors don't have KD, but Houston have him. How does that look? And do they still get CP3? So Kevin Durant making that decision to go to Golden State saved Golden State's legacy and people like Draymond Green. Don't view it any other way because people if you view it the other way, you got to view it both ways. Because people will always say Golden State saved Kevin Durant, but they would not give you the full story of how Kevin Durant saved Golden State as well. Right? So this entitlement that Draymond Green has should not be there. It should not be there because he's not that as a player. And this 4 rings that he bragged about would not be possible if Kevin Durant never joined. Y'all would have 1 ring and 2 finals appearances. And I guarantee you that core 3 won't still be in Golden State. Right? So the entitlement was there for Draymond Green. Then Draymond Green started really feeling himself. And things that he did pushed Kevin Durant away. Kevin Durant was in the contract year when they had that fallout. And Kevin Durant is on record saying it wasn't the fallout that actually pushed me away from Golden State. It was the way everyone reacted to it. And if you remember how they reacted to it, they suspended Draymond for like a game or 2. But then They couldn't even handle Draymond because they was like, Bob Myers has been on record saying and Draymond Green explains this on this podcast. Bob Myers pulled him in the office and immediately told him, you go F this up. You need to make this right and you need to apologize to Kevin Durant. And Draymond Green was like, I'm not apologizing for shit. He said, I'm not apologizing. He said, if I do apologize, it's going to be my own time, not because you made me. So they couldn't even get Draymond Green to actually try to right the ship. But as a leader, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, whoever else, Steph Curry, as a locker room, as a teammate, the worst thing you could have did was ignored it and act like it didn't happen, because Draymond did and said some things that split everything in half against Kevin Durant. Because if you saying we won without you, we don't need you, and you tell me that and I'm Kevin Durant, I want to know who all feels like that, because I know you got a closer relationship with Steph and Clay and probably Iggy than I do. I just got here. So if you're saying that, I want to know if you speaking for the whole room. And the only way I'm going to know that is if everybody else in the room says, first of all, hell nah, we don't think that Kevin Durant, that nigga talking about, my bad, that dude is speaking for himself, right? Kevin Durant, we don't think that. It's Steph Curry and Clay, I don't think that. We definitely need you and we want you to resign, right? I'm gonna nip that junk in the bud right now. Draymond, you effed up for what you said. Hey man, you need to fix that. Kevin Durant said none of that happened. Kevin Durant said Steph Curry and Clay just act like nothing happened. And then Draymond got the 1 game suspension, and that was only because it was public. That was because everybody seen it on the sidelines and everybody on ESPN was talking about it. So they gave him the 1 game suspension for checking the box. But after that, he said it was like, all right, man, we're not going to talk about it. Steve Kerr didn't talk about it. The leader and Steph Curry didn't talk about it. Bob Myers didn't talk about it. And they just wanted to roll on and get this championship. That's how they went. And Kevin Durant was like, that is what made me ultimately want to leave. That's what made me feel unwanted. Do you think KD stays if they trade Draymond? And that's what I'm getting to. I think if KD stayed, 2 things was going to happen. They wasn't going to have the money left over because they had to resign. I think they resigned Steph like a year or 2 before that. And that was going to give KD whatever he wanted to keep him there, because the duo of Steph and KD is way more deadly than the trio of Steph, Dre, and Clay. So that was going to give KD whatever he wanted, keep him in Golden State, and then what was left was what they was going to offer Draymond if they offered him anything at all. I'm pretty sure they wanted to keep him, but he wouldn't have got no max. He ended up getting a max contract because KD left. And that's why Draymond Green was so high strong and so sensitive to everything. And that's why he blew up on Kevin Durant, because it was contract year. And you go to his podcast and you hear him talk about it. He said KD was not telling anybody what his plans was. And he said that everybody was waiting on it. We wanted to know, like, come on, man, what you go do? Kevin Durant was not trying to speak on it. And they said Kevin Durant became a little distant that last season. So it was frustrating people. It really frustrated Draymond Green because he was also in a contract year the same year as Kevin Durant. And imagine your agent coming telling you, we can't get a deal done because they waiting on Kevin Durant. And Draymond is like, look, man, I can't wait to the end of the season. Come, let's get it. He wanted a deal done. And that was going to be his first max. I meet the criteria. I've done everything. I've been an all-star. I did X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? We fresh off a championship, man. I got to strike while the iron's hot. I don't have the skill set of a Steph Curry, Clay, or KD. I got to strike while the iron's hot, and I can't get this money nowhere else. We got to get it. And you telling me we can't even negotiate because we got to find out what Kevin Durant is doing, and Kevin Durant's not telling nobody? He's waiting to the end of the season. So I'm pissed off. It's Draymond Green. So he was already a little right? That's why he was easily set off by Kevin Durant just saying, pass the ball, I'm open. What would set him off that easy? He was frustrated. His money was involved, right? So And then when you hear Kevin Durant talk about it on his podcast, etc., he said, me leaving Golden State was better for everybody. It got everybody paid. He said, I got paid, Steph got paid, Clay got played, Draymond got paid. He said that was the best case scenario. He said if I would have stayed there, they would have had to blow it up. And it would have just been him and Steph, and they would have rebuilt around him. I don't know what they was going to do with Clay and Dre. Right? And which I'm down for that. So Bob Myers was ready to move on from Dre even then. Bob Myers is a GM that's ready to do, I mean, come on, he did a Kevin Durant deal. That was blockbuster. He's ready to make splashes and ready to do things. Right? And he don't care what Steve Kerr got to say about it or whatever. He was a man with kahunas. So it's my opinion, yeah, he was ready to move on from Dre to keep Kevin Durant. And Draymond knew that. And Draymond was frustrated, right? So so that happened. Kevin Durant, he decides to leave, man, and Draymond gets paid. And Clay got hurt that year as well. So they come back the next year. Draymond is paid. They don't have Clay, don't have KD. Steph Curry gets hurt in the 4th game. He fell on his hand and broke his hand or broke his wrist. And the team is full with rookies. I think they had I can't remember all I can't remember all the names, man, but they were starting some rookies that I'm like, man, this ain't it. They had D'Angelo Russell. They was trying to replace because Kevin Durant agreed to a sign and trade to go to Brooklyn, which he didn't have to do. Kevin Durant could have just went to Brooklyn and showed up and said, you know, hey, I'm signing and let's trade D'Lo to get another piece to add with Kyrie. Me and Kyrie are both coming as a package deal. That means D'Lo's not going to have a place on this team because him and Kyrie play the same position. But that's an asset that we could use to get a piece that we want. Kevin Durant could have been selfish and did that. LeBron James would have definitely done it. That's what I like about LeBron. But Kevin Durant, being the friend that he was and being cool with Bob Myers came to him and was like, can you allow us to do a sign and trade so we can get at least something for you walking? And Kevin Durant was like, cool. They called Brooklyn and Brooklyn was like, all right, man, we go get rid of D'Lo anyway, so we'll just let y'all have him. So they did the sign and trade. They got D'Lo for Kevin Durant. That's important because D'Lo turned into Andrew Wiggins the next season. They used D'Lo. As a matter of fact, they traded D'Lo before the trade deadline that season. It wasn't working. So they ain't even keep D'Lo a full year, which is going to happen again this year, probably with CP3. But they didn't even use D'Lo the full year. He wasn't working with Steph. It didn't work. They thought that, hey, man, we can at least have D'Lo to replace Clay this whole season with Draymond, and we'll see what, you know what I'm saying, we can see if we could recreate the Splash Brothers without Clay, and then when Clay comes back, you know what I'm saying, we can go ahead and do whatever with D'Lo. That was the plan, but it didn't work. They didn't like the way it panned out. D'Lo, the first 5 games with Steph didn't look good. Steph gets hurt. He's gone for, I think, the season. So now you don't have Clay or Steph. And then what did Draymond do? As soon as he found out Steph wasn't playing, just like Rudy Gobert said, he don't like playing without number 30. Draymond Green started missing games here and there, rest, backache, foot ache, shoulder ache, and then he went and they pulled him for the whole season for some injury. I don't know if he had a surgery or whatever, rehab. That he gone for the whole season. He didn't want to play without Steph. They was losing. You know, he even admitted it, man. Like, you know, I don't get up for games like that. You know, and you know, I'm here for playoff basketball. So he didn't want to be out there if they was losing. So he didn't even stick around to help bring the kids along. And Jonathan Wiseman was out there the next season hooping as a rookie because Clay got hurt again, so they didn't have Clay again. And Wiseman was out there playing really good basketball. Wiseman was looking good. Wiggins was looking good. You know, it was changing. And then the next year when they come back, Poole started developing. So now you got Jordan Poole developing, but Wiseman had got hurt. Remember, Wiseman rookie season, he was playing good, but he got hurt. When he came back, they sent him to the G League to get kind of in shape. But now that you got Clay back, Steph back, Draymond back, and now you got a third Splash Brother in Poole, and you got Looney doing his thing, Wiseman was trying to get back in the lineup, but Wiseman is a guy that has scoring ability. and he's a number 1 pick, and he's a great athlete, and he's all this. He's tall, he's athletic, he can run, he can jump, all this stuff. So when you tell a guy like that to just do what Looney is doing, all I want you to do is play defense, rebound, and give the ball back up whenever you get the rebound. I don't even care if you go back up to get the point. If you get a rebound, dish it out to one of the shooters. And Looney is okay with that because Looney's skill set ain't as high as Wiseman. Wiseman was never okay with that. So Wiseman started becoming a problem from Golden State. And that's the first young guy that the core 3 and Steve Kerr ostracized. Mind you, he's hooping as a rookie, looking good. But now all of a sudden he can't play basketball. So they started dropping him down to the G League, because they wanted to drive the point home that you need to accept your role like Looney. And then they turned around and paid Looney and gave him money. So now the writing's on the wall. We got to get rid of Wiseman, and that's what they did. They traded Wiseman, right? So Wiseman was the first young guy to go. Moody is hidden in the bench. Moody was the first round pick that they picked. Another one of those picks that's supposed to pan out. He's buried in the bench. Poole's able to break out, but Moody can't. And then they get Kuminga. Kuminga's a great athlete. He can develop into something. He was buried in the bench. Now, why was these dudes buried in the bench? What I said at the beginning of the show. The natural progression of how this stuff supposed to go, you have star player, you have superstars, you have star players, and you got role players. When they become vets, they all take a step down. Steph Curry is still that superstar. Draymond and Clay are not star players anymore. They're not all stars anymore. They're just vets and role players. But they're getting paid like superstars and all stars. They weren't supposed to get that money. They were supposed to take their rightful position coming off the bench, and Steph was supposed to get rebuilt around with young talent that they can pay that money and expect things to get better for them year in and year out. Things are getting worse for Draymond and Clay every year, but their dollars is going up every year. That's not how you're supposed to run your business. Bob Myers knew that. So Bob Myers was drafting and bringing players in that was supposed to replace Clay and Dre. Steve Kerr wouldn't let him. So you got in Kuminga. He's the perfect guy. You got Wiggins, Kuminga, Jordan Poole, Wiseman, and Moody. You got 5 guys that could have developed and been the future moving forward with Steph, and then Dre and Clay could have faded to black. They could have either traded them for assets or put them on the bench and paid them vet minimums or whatever, or something slightly above that, whatever the case may be. Bob Myers' hands was tied. He couldn't do it. I think Bob Myers has wanted to move on from Draymond Green at least 2 occasions. The KD year, they were supposed to keep Kevin Durant and either pay Draymond less or let him walk. And then with this Poole situation, right? So, and I'm getting to that. So you got all these young guys. Poole's outperforming. We already got rid of Wiseman. Kuminga and Moody stuck on the bench. Wiseman, we traded you. Poole, we letting you do your thing because Clay was not back to his old self and he was hurt. Like Poole was killing. Clay comes back. You know, it still wasn't that bad. Poole was still getting his minutes coming off the bench. But Poole started playing too well. And then Poole outperformed Clay in the playoffs. And Poole was very important and instrumental in them winning the finals against Boston. I would say that Jordan Poole, Steph Curry, and Wiggins were the most important pieces on that Golden State Warriors team on that finals run. Wiggins defense, Wiggins rebounding, Wiggins scoring as a third option. Poole was the second splash brother that Steph needed. Steph was his normal self. Draymond was almost unplayable except in the Denver series. You know, he did a good job on Jokic, but other than that, Draymond was almost unplayable. He got benched in the Boston series, and Clay was hit or miss. It was obvious Poole was the better player for him, better player than him. All right, and Otto Porter Jr. actually was a better option at the stretch 4 than Draymond was. Right, so what do you do with all that as a GM? Well, we like Poole, we want to keep him, but Steve Kerr likes Draymond and Clay. and so does Steph. So how do I navigate that? I think what happened is Bob Myers had already expressed that he wanted to keep Poole and give him a contract. I think that frustrated Clay because he plays my position. And if he get the contract, that means I'm not going to get the contract. And that means he's taking my minutes. He's taking my rightful spot as a splash brother alongside my brother Steph. So not only is he replacing me on the court, he's taking my money and my friend and Steph. That's how they probably viewed it. Draymond looked at it as Clay is my brother. I don't like the fact that Poole is cocky. He knows he's about to get this money. He knows he's outplaying Clay. He knows he's about to be the future along with Steph, and he's rubbing it in. So Draymond is already pissed that he's rubbing it in. He's talking trash. He's playing the best basketball he's ever played in his life for a team that just won the championship, and he got money coming to him. And Draymond didn't like that. And Steph and Clay ain't the type to really give a lot of resistance back to Jordan Poole, but Draymond is. So he was already mad, just like he was mad at KD was about to get that money, and he went off on KD. Now he's mad at Poole because he's taking Klay Thompson's spot, about to get the money that him and Klay want, and he's rubbing it in. So Dre was already on edge with Jordan Poole after a championship. They just won a championship, and they in training camp, and Draymond Green is on edge. That don't even make sense for you to show up to training camp already on edge like that. We're coming into the season being the favorites to make it back to the finals, and you're on edge. Why would you be on edge when everything basketball wise is on a high? You're on edge because something was going on with your money and your future, and Jordan Poole was in the way. Mind you, remember Wiseman they already got rid of Wiseman. These are guys Bob Myers are bringing in to replace the old people, and the old people are weeding them out, and then eventually they gotta go. They're not working with Steve Kerr won't play them. Steve Kerr dropping them to the G League. Steve Kerr won't put them in the game. All this stuff, right? Bob Myers, all right, if you're not gonna use them, trade them, right? So Wiseman's gone, Moody's bench, Kuminga's bench, but Poole's getting PT and is about to get this money. Draymond Green, he knows his contract is coming up as well. If Poole get this money, me and Clay is gonna be out. That's how he's looking at it. On this podcast, he said the writing's on the wall. So he knew what the deal was. So then we get to the punch. So he punches Poole out, knocks him out at practice. I don't know what you could say that could make him that pissed off, but he was on edge. 100% he was on edge the whole time, right? So he knocks him out. Then he puts all this fake stuff out in the public. You know, his friend at the Volume, Colin Cowherd, he was the first one to come out. You know, I'm hearing from the Warriors that Jordan Poole deserved it. I'm hearing from the Warriors that Jordan Poole is cocky. You're hearing from Draymond Green. I'm hearing from a source close to Steve Kerr that he was cocky and he deserved it. And then Steve Kerr came out and said, I don't know who reported that, who said that, but that is false. Jordan Poole did not deserve that. Steph Curry said the same thing. So you got people on one side that are close to Draymond that keep throwing out that bull crap saying Jordan Poole deserved it, Jordan Poole deserved it. The people in the media. Draymond got a lot of people in the media because he's about to, he's been working to get in the media for a while, and I think he's got a TNT contract waiting on him. That might be on hold with all this stuff that's going on now. So they was throwing all that stuff out there trying to make Jordan Poole look like the bad guy. A lot of fans bought it, and it looked like Golden State did another mistake, because the first mistake was the Draymond Green and KD situation. They didn't handle it well. It turned Kevin Durant off. They didn't handle it well. But fine by Draymond, I got my contract. Fine by Clay, I got my shots back, and I got my contract. And we still the core three, and we still together. We already felt like we didn't need Kevin Durant in the first place. Now we just proved it by winning another chip. So they say, right? They just proved it, right? So I mean, That's the mindset. The core three is the only thing that's important, right? Punch out Draymond, Jordan Poole. The punishment was not there. The reason why the punishment wasn't there, I'm gonna get to these comments right after I say this. The reason why the punishment wasn't there is because it was right before training camp. It was right during training camp when it happened. They didn't come out and say, Draymond Green, that was detrimental to the team. You're suspended without pay. What they said is nothing. And then Draymond came out on his podcast and said, I'm taking some time to myself. His punishment was him getting days off from training camp, which was like 4 or 5 days. So he got to go home as a veteran who probably don't want to be there anyway. I'm already in shape. I know how to keep myself in shape. I'm a vet. You're not putting any new concepts out there I don't know. I'm the linebacker for the defense. I definitely know the defensive schemes, right? So it's really no point for me to be here other than punching Jordan Poole. So for you telling me to go home for 5 days before the season start, and then I get to come back game 1 ring night and get my ring, and that was factored into the reason why they didn't punish him. They was thinking like, if we suspend him a game, he's gonna miss ring night. They didn't want him to miss ring night, so why don't you go home, take some time to yourself, take 5 days off practice. He didn't miss not one game. He didn't miss a check. He wasn't fined. He didn't get a punishment at all for knocking out his teammate at all. They were more mad at who leaked the video. So that's the second time they enabled him. That's the second time they didn't punish him when they needed to. Let me get to these kind of comments. Looks like the players and Kerr went directly to Laker regarding their future and undercut Myers, so he had to leave. 100%. And I said it on a podcast when he first announced that he was leaving. I did I'll link it in the description so y'all can go watch that one. But I broke down everything, and it's crazy because I got about 4 or 5 Warriors videos where everything that's happening right now, I predicted all of it. I went and looked at the contract, the money, and said this is why they need to let Dre and Clay go. And I broke everything down. And I said this is what's gonna happen this season. I named it all. I gotta put all those videos in the description so y'all can see it. But you're right, 100%. Speaking of all facts right now, old ninjas was hating and ended up destroying themselves. 100%. Looney has very little impact on the game. Not athletic, poor rim protection, no offensive bag. Golden State is done. I agree. That small ball and that 3 ball has run its course. I agree. The management, coaching staff can't adapt, and that's why Steve Kerr kept saying we can't do this without Dre, because it's inadequacies in his leadership and in Steph's leadership that they think Dre got. We can't be forceful and boisterous and you know, we can't come in the locker room and like demand that type of like Steph can't do it, Clay can't do it, Steve Kerr can't do it. They're afraid of any confrontation, it seems like. How I know Steph is afraid of confrontation? Because he's never checked Draymond. He's never checked him. Jordan checked Rodman all the time. But another thing that Jordan never said was Rodman was the leader of the locker room. You don't let a hothead be the leader of your locker room. When Rashid was doing all his texts and all this stuff, the leader of the locker room really was Steve Smith and Scottie Pippen. Really, if you want to be real about it, it wasn't Rashid. Anytime you let a hothead be the leader of your locker room, you're doomed to fail. DeMarcus Cousins was a hothead in Sacramento. His best year was when Rondo was there. A real leader. The fact that Draymond Green is a locker room leader and the heart and soul, in the words of Gilbert Arenas, the heartbeat of the Warriors, the fact that Steve Kerr said we can't win without him, we're not a contender without him, that shows me you're not a good leader. Steph's not a good leader. Clay's not a good leader. That you will let a hothead, that you will let Donald Trump come in here and you know, that's another topic. But you let a hothead come in here, I mean, it don't make sense, man. Like none of this makes sense. So they didn't punish him for KD. They didn't punish him for Poole because they didn't want him to miss ring night. So in Draymond's head, there's nothing I'm doing wrong, really. And he kept saying things like, I'm Draymond. I'm not gonna change for nobody. I've been like this my whole career, and look where it's got me. I'm gonna be Draymond. Nobody can show me. Nobody can tell me how to be Draymond, and all of this stuff. And then you got all these people applauding him. These former players is living vicariously through him. Rasheed Wallace coming out saying, "Oh man, he got that from us. It's our fault because when we was in Detroit, and he's from Michigan." He had a friend of the family that was close to the GM. I think the GM's son was Draymond's best friend, according to Rasheed Wallace. So they used to be around the locker room a lot when they was young kids. And he said he heard all of the type, behind the scenes things that they was saying and how they would talk and how they would enforce rules, unspoken rules within their team. So he was like, we kind of responsible for that. But he didn't say it in a way like it's a bad thing that Draymond is acting like this. He said it in a way like, he said, I love Draymond. Like everybody loves him. He's a likable guy. He can talk his way out of situations there. I know his significant other having fun with that. He can talk his way out of anything. He think his mouthpiece is just gold, right? So everyone likes him. No one said I dislike Draymond Green. I don't even dislike him, right? He's very likable. He's a likable guy. So everyone said, "Oh man, I love Draymond." They always say that before they try to say anything that's supposed to correct them. So Rasheed was saying that Gilbert Arenas has been enabling him from day one. I don't see nothing wrong, but Gilbert Arenas is halfway a jokester, So he know the real. Gilbert Arenas is a smart guy. He know the real, but he say stuff and mean it, but really don't mean it. Like he say stuff and mean it, but he really don't mean it. He know better. He's been so it's been so many people. Oh man, I love what he's doing. Keep doing that, young fella. We need enforcers in the league. We need what it really is. The Kenyon Martin, KG, all these dudes saying we need enforcers because they're living vicariously through Draymond. They saw themselves as enforcers. But guess what? Guess who was a bigger enforcer than KG, Kenyon Martin, Rasheed Wallace, all put together? Freaking David Stern. God rest his soul. David Stern was the biggest thug, the biggest bully, the biggest enforcer the NBA has ever seen. He didn't care who you were. He'll put you out of the league. And he will tell you, listen to Dennis Rodman, listen to Carmelo Anthony when they said they got pulled in David Stern's office. And he said, this is your last straw. You're going to be out of the league. Great players like Marbury, gone. Like if I'm done, if David Stern's done with you, he's going to get you out of that league. Period. It's another story. They came in and I think Rasheed told them David Stern came to Portland and said, if y'all give him a contract, y'all go hate what's going to happen to y'all in this new draft lottery. So they didn't re-sign Rasheed. Big thug. So the point is Rasheed, KG, and Kenyon Martin, the things they're saying Draymond Green doing, they wish they could have done it, but they couldn't because they was afraid of David Stern. So now they living vicariously through Draymond because somehow that gives them the sense of, it gives them the sense of pride as well to see Draymond doing it, where they was thought of as enforcers back then, and they see Draymond doing this crazy stuff. They're like, man, I wish I could have done that. So now they're trying to explain it away and then also connect it back to them by saying I was the same way. Notice everyone, all these enforcers like Kenyon Martin, Rasheed, KG, when they brag about what Draymond is doing, they always connect it back to them some type of way. With Rasheed, yeah, he just doing what we told him to do. He's seen us do. That's our fault. Kenyon Martin, I was the same way. I didn't play that. Yeah, I didn't do. I was an enforcer too. KG, I was the same way. They all try to connect it back to them, so we could look at them in the light that we looking at Draymond Green now. Oh, I was like that too, but they really wasn't. They played good defense. They fouled hard and they talk trash. But as far as crossing the line, I ain't never seen Kenyon Martin and KG and Rasheed Wallace do anything that Ben Wallace and Artest did in Malice of the Palace or Steven Jackson. And even that was a one-time incident because Steven Jackson really behaved as well. He knew David Stern didn't play. And he ain't bragging about what Draymond is doing, and neither is Ben Wallace. And neither is Artest. They'll tell you right now that's stupid. Artest did all that crazy stuff. KG ain't never do that. KG ain't elbow nobody in no face like Artest did. He didn't do no malice in the power. He was a well-mannered guy who was a goon within the lines. He didn't cross the line. They're just trying to live vicariously through Draymond because he's crossing the line. So you got to watch that stuff. You got to watch it. Curry ain't got the heart to push that button on these guys. I don't think he does either. He gonna for a trade to another contender for his fifth. I don't think Curry will leave, but I think it's going to get to the point where Curry is going to have to sign off on Klay and Draymond getting traded, because they're not going to re-sign Klay Thompson for what he want, and Klay Thompson not going to accept less than what he think him and his agent asking for, especially now after they just gave it to Draymond, and they in trouble with what they just gave Draymond. They should have never signed him. Which let me go ahead and close this out. So they didn't punish him for Poole. Second mistake, second enabling in big situation. So now Draymond feels like, man, I can do no wrong, right? Now the team that was supposed to go on their championship run to defend their championship they just won, now that team is fractured, and it's fractured between the core three and Steve Kerr and the young guys, because now they actually seeing what it really is. We thought we was this one unit, this team, but now we see that it's really the core three against everyone, against the young guys. And then Looney, Iguodala, those guys was cut. They was stuck in the middle because Iguodala been there from the beginning. But the core three never accepted Iguodala or Sean Livingston or David West is part of the circle. You never hear them mention Iguodala's gonna get a statue. You never mention, when they talk about the guys who started this dynasty, they never mention Livingston, West, Iguodala. Iguodala was there for all of them, and he gets excluded. The core three is just separate team. When they talk about championship pedigree, they say Draymond, Steph, Klay. The core three is the championship core, is the pedigree. Everyone else was just along for the ride. Even Iggy, and Iggy is better than Klay and Draymond. And as a vet, he said, I'm going to go to the bench and I'm going to do the small things, and I'm not going to ask for a buttload of money because I already made money in Philly. That's what a vet's supposed to do. And Draymond and Klay won't do it for the new young guys that they're bringing in to replace them. They won't do it. But Iggy did it. And what does he get for it? He gets forgotten and he gets left out. So the core three is Draymond, Klay, and Steph. And Curry is supporting and enabling that bull crap. Bob Myers saw the future was now, and he started preparing for the future, and he's bringing in replacements. And the core three is weeding them out. If you come in and you upset the apple core, if you're trying to replace one of us, if you're trying to outperform one of us, if you're trying to get our money, we're going to weed you out. Wiseman was the first to go. Now Poole's knocked out, and the locker room is split because Poole was best friends with DiVincenzo. Now you got Wiggins caught in the middle. So I forgot about Wiggins, Iguodala, and Looney is stuck in the middle. Draymond, Klay, and Steph is on this side, and on this side is all the youngsters: DiVincenzo, Gary Payton, Jordan Poole. Wiseman's already gone. Moody, Kuminga, all those dudes stuck on this side, right? And the young guys is looking like, all right, let's see what this punishment gonna be for Draymond after he knocked out Poole. No punishment. They riding with it. What message does that send to all of those guys? What message did that send to Jordan Poole right away? So now you got this locker room split that they admitted after the season that the locker room was split. They tried to act like it wasn't there, and they fixed everything so they can go on a run. And I kept telling y'all, no, this team is losing because his locker room is split. They kept denying it, and then as soon as they got put out of the playoffs, they come out and was like, the locker room been split the whole season. Draymond split it. He knows what he did, and we gotta fix that. And I said, that's code word for Poole is gone. Poole is gone. I said that. because they had to choose between Draymond and Poole. If they choose Poole, then they got to let Clay go as well, because they like this. That knockout just wasn't for first what Poole said to Draymond. That was because you're trying to replace my brother Clay, and you trying to get both our money. You trying to split us up from Steph. We're not gonna allow that. You mess with our livelihood, and you bragging about it. That punch was for a lot of people, and that's why Clay took the side of Draymond. That's why people like Colin Cowherd was coming out in public and saying, "Look, it's a lot of people that in the Warriors organization that say he deserved it." It's not a lot of people. It's just Draymond and Clay that said that. Draymond and Clay. That's the people that say he deserved it. Draymond and Clay, and they're telling whoever they can tell to get that message out there to the public to try to make it seem a little bit lesser than what it really was, right? So Poole, they didn't make him feel good, and he ain't even signed his contract yet. So now it looks like the team is split. Draymond, hey man, I don't know what's gonna happen from here, but we'll see. Are they gonna trade Poole? Are they gonna trade me? What's gonna happen? I know they ain't gonna keep both of us, you know what I'm saying? So he did what he had to do. Bob Myers gave him the contract anyway. Jordan Poole kept his mouth shut because he was like, man, I gotta sign this contract. Sign that contract. If I get traded later, cool. That's what I would tell him if I was his agent. Hey, chill, don't make no fuss. Sign that contract before you say anything. So he gets the contract 2 weeks later. So now he's making a buttload of money, and Clay and Dre is looking like, oh man, we might be out of here. How we gonna get paid? But the locker room was so jacked up they couldn't never start playing really good basketball. And then the Lakers daggone 4-0'd them, sent them to the crib. Poole wasn't playing good. Clay wasn't playing good. Draymond definitely wasn't playing good. Only Steph. Right? They blame Poole. Now, a bad year for Poole was 20 points. Clay can't even get you that this season. That's how you know you should have moved on. That's how you know Poole should still be in the Golden State Warriors jersey. So Poole didn't play like he should have. He should have been averaging 25 and hitting game winners and looking like a splash brother like he was year before. But I mean, when you nationally exposed like that, and then you got to come and work with the dude that did it, and then you got to work for people that chose that dude over you. You know, they tried to say, hey, look, here's the contract. Maybe that'll fix it to let you know that we committed to you. But you didn't punish this dude that did that. And the dude that fractured the locker room got no punishment. Like, you're afraid of him. So now I got to play for this. And now you're showing me the real behind the curtains. It's the core three versus everyone. So Poole sees it. All the young guys sees it, right? Season is over. And now they got a decision. Do we keep Bob Myers? Bob Myers is the guy who wanted to go forward. What they should have done with a Klay Thompson with a contract making $43 million coming up, Draymond Green with a player option but want a new contract. What they should have done is worked out a sign and trade for Draymond and traded Klay, kept Poole. Now, trading Klay, I don't know if you get pieces back or draft picks. It depends on what team wants. $43 million is a lot of money. A lot of money. And I just don't know a lot of teams that's going to take Klay for 43. So I don't know. Maybe in order for you to take Klay, I got to send Wiggins as well. So maybe he packaged Wiggins and Klay and send them somewhere. Now, I did a trade scenario, and I matched the money up. And I seen that Dame Lillard had asked for a trade. He's from Oakland. He makes the same amount. He makes 45. Klay makes 43. Draymond was, if he would have opted into his player option, would have been making, I think, close to 30, which is about the same that Jeremy Grant in Portland is making. My suggestion was keep Jordan Poole, trade Klay. If you're going to be in a luxury tax, at least be in a luxury tax for a team that can contend. So I was like, match the money up. I would trade Klay and Draymond straight up for Dame Lillard and Jeremy Grant at Portland. And to make the deal sweet for Portland, I would have threw Andrew Wiggins in there. And I would have wrote, because that's basically what they doing with CP3. Everybody was like, that's crazy. That's 2 point guards. How that's going to work? Well, you just did the same thing by sending Poole for CP3. And you had to figure that out. At least you could have had a point guard that could actually get on the floor and be a problem for you. I seen Steph and Dame Lillard in the All-Star game together. It was ugly. Logo shots left and right. That's dangerous for a team. So if I could have had Dame and Clay and Steph on my backcourt with Jeremy Grant at the 4, Looney at the 5, and at the 3, maybe Kuminga, I would have liked that more than I like what's going on right now. Or you still got Poole coming off the bench as well. There's a 6-man. So you would have had Dame and Steph, Kuminga, Jeremy Grant, Looney, with Jordan Poole coming off the bench as a 6-man. You could have had that, but instead you wanted to stay with these old heads that's making too much money, who can't give you nothing on the court, who's scaring away all the young talent because they feel like, you ever seen the pretty girl? They got the ugly fat friends at the club. Like the Dave Chappelle skit when everybody was trying to holler at the pretty girl, but her fat friends was like blocking them. That's what Steph is. Steph is the pretty girl at the club. Clay and Draymond are the fat friends that every teammate that come in and block. They won't let them get close to Steph. Man, this is our guy. We the core 3. We go lead with Steph. They won't let nobody else, really mesh with him. Kevin Durant and Steph was a great duo. That should have kept going. Poole and Steph was the new Splash brother. That should have kept going. Draymond ran them both away. He did the dirty work for Clay. And Steph is just the guy that's sitting back watching it all happen. And Steve Kerr is helping it happen as well. Steve Kerr is the bad parent with the bad, terrible 2-year-old that's at someone's house tearing it up all over the place. Drawing on the wall with crayons, crying, falling out when they, all it, and that parent just sit back and trying to explain it by saying, he just cranky, he's tired. No, baby, that baby is bad, and that baby needs a spanking. That's what that is. That's what Steve Kerr and Draymond relationship is like. Draymond acts out, do all this terrible 2-year-old stuff, and then Steve Kerr come in the press conferences and is like, like when the guy asked him, look, man, is all the negative outweighing the positive of Draymond? He paused and was like, shoot, he didn't tell me he was going to ask me that. And then he was like, he didn't say yes or no. He said, Draymond still is a great player. We need him on the floor. What the hell? How you even respond to that? Is the negative outweighing the positive? Is the bad outweighing the good? Yes or no? Draymond is still a great player. That's the mom that's telling you that this bad kid that's tearing the leather off your sofa is just sleepy. He don't normally act like this. He's just tired. He gets cranky when he's sleepy. Nah, man, let me whoop this kid. And then when it's really time to whoop him, Steve Kerr can't whoop him. Because what the Warriors should have done is really, like, they don't have to wait for the NBA to come and suspend Draymond. The Brooklyn Nets didn't do it. They suspended Kyrie. They didn't wait for the NBA to come suspend him. The NBA couldn't really suspend him because he didn't break any NBA rules. The NBA didn't suspend Ime Udoka. The Boston Celtics suspended him. So you, as a team, you don't have to wait for your parent to come and whoop his grandkid for you. It's your kid. Handle it. Because if you don't, then you're telling everyone around you that you're okay with that behavior. You're okay that Draymond knocked Poole out. You're okay that he ran Kevin Durant away. You're okay with all that stuff because you're not punishing him. So you're sending the message to Draymond, look, we with you, ride or die. You can do whatever you want because you won 4 rings here. We ride or die with you. I'm not going to ever throw you on the bus and say nothing bad. We're not even going to punish you. But if the NBA punish you, all right, the NBA punish you. Go ahead. NBA punish them. But they're never going to punish them. And even yet with this punishment right here, the Warriors come back and say, And what the NBA actually suspended him indefinitely, gave him a checklist to knock down, but he can still practice with the team. If you tell me that, I'm telling my agent to go to them and say, look, well, if I'm still practicing, that's work. And I'm not working for free. So you can suspend me these games, but I'm getting a game check. Like that's what I would say. Like, why would the Warriors say, yeah, you can practice with us, and you can't even be in the game plan for the foreseeable future? And imagine him getting starter reps with the first unit, but he's not going to start the next game. He's not even going to be available. So if I got 10 guys that I need to be on one accord for a game plan, how can a guy that's not playing be part of it? So if the Warriors actually let this dude come and practice with them, that's more enabling it. Like, no, suspend him for real. Let him know that you have a problem with it too. Because now what they're trying to do is kind of be in the middle, like, I mean, the NBA suspended them. We'll just wait to see what the NBA do. Y'all suspended him. Okay, cool. No, well, how do you feel? Do you think that he should be suspended? Are you going to keep him away from the team? Like, I don't understand what they're doing. Like, it's too weird. Once Curry's gone, trade Draymond back to Detroit for Isaiah Stewart and bring back Wiseman. Yeah, for sure. But so I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it with this before I get to this Cam Newton stuff. What I think should happen now, because I told them what should have happened in the summer. They should have traded Clay and Draymond and kept Poole. But now they stuck between the rock and the hard place. Now they done gave Draymond this contract. Clay wants one similar. I'm going to Steph right now, and I'm not asking for permission. I'm not asking how you feel about it. I'm telling him, I know you wanted to go out with these guys the way y'all came in, but we can't do it. Like, he's damaging the team. He damaged the team last year and split the locker room, and we thought trading Poole was going to magically make the locker room come back together. Like DiVincenzo, I can't say his name. He had a contract. He had a player option with the Warriors last year. He didn't even take it. He went to New York. He wanted out of there. He wanted out of that locker room. That tells you something. Wiggins hasn't been the same since. Looney hasn't really been the same since. GP2 hasn't been the same since. The locker room is split still because everyone's seeing how they allow Draymond to treat new guys. And if I'm a new guy, how am I different? This dude was averaging more points than Clay and Draymond put together, and he's a new guy, and y'all just gave him a contract to commit to him, so you actually think fondly of him, and y'all allow Draymond to do him like that. What the hell y'all gonna allow him to do to me if I'm one of these young guys that's new? If I'm Kuminga even wanted to get out. His agent even asked out last year. If y'all not gonna use me this year, trade me. I mean, we got Shaedon Sharpe in Portland getting more minutes than Kuminga now and actually showing what he can do. They're almost the same type of player, except Shaedon Sharpe shoots it better. But Kuminga and Shaedon Sharpe is the same guy, minus the shooting. And we go get to see Shaedon Sharpe reach his peak level before we see Kuminga, because Kuminga's not getting the minutes. It's the same thing that was happening to Tracy McGrady with the Raptors. They wasn't giving him the minutes, even though he was playing with Vince. It was all about Vince then, and they had some vets out there too. T-Mac wouldn't get, like, we didn't know how good T-Mac was. Well, some people didn't know how good he was. I did. He went to Orlando, whole new thing. Sometimes people need to actually get thrown out there and actually do their thing. We know the ceiling for Draymond. Can we see the ceiling from these new guys that Bob Myers brought in? So I'm telling Steph Curry, we got to move on. Like, he split the locker room. The locker room has never came back together. We went and told Joe Lacob last year, as soon as they got kicked out of the playoffs, Steve Kerr, the first thing he was saying on the podium is, we are not a championship team without Draymond. He was already lobbying for Draymond to get his new contract. He went to back him. How does that feel to Jordan Poole or Andrew Wiggins? Andrew Wiggins is supposed to be replacing Draymond. Jordan Poole's supposed to be replacing Clay. And you telling me the guy that the team that I came out here and played my best basketball for, I sacrificed the most I've ever sacrificed. You know, I've been the best player on every team I've been on. Even the team he was on in college with Joel Embiid, Wiggins was the best player. He was the best player on every team he has been on. He comes to the Golden State Warriors and plays a role just like Iguodala did. And I got to come out here and hear somebody say, the guy that I outplayed, we can't live without. And I'm like, man, why would I run through a wall for y'all again? And that's what you're saying with Wiggins. He don't want to run through a wall for them no more because the appreciation is not there. They only appreciate those three dudes. Listen to how they talk. Listen to how many times they say core 3, championship core, the vets, and it's like they're talking about two different teams. And that's fine and dandy if the guy that you're talking about is Jordan and Pippen, because Jordan and Pippen is outplaying everybody, and they're running through the wall on defense. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's cool if it's that, but if I'm outplaying this guy and you're telling me he needs to get this huge contract and we can't live without him, I'm very confused. And if he's knocking people out and not getting punished for it, and he keeps doing it and he keeps kicking himself in the in the foot by doing stupid stuff on the court and getting suspended for games, like how is that $100 million man that you invested in, that you keep coming in and coming to bat for and enabling? So I'm telling Steph, the locker room was split. We can't get it back together. We got rid of the wrong guy. As long as Draymond and Clay is here, you're never going to have a whole team or a whole locker room. Never. So what I'm saying is, Steph, you're the only person that we really can't lose. You're the franchise, right? You're the franchise. So I just need to know, once I get rid of Draymond and Clay, I need to know your true feelings and how you're going to be committed to what we bring back. Do you want to stay X, Y, and Z? Because I'm not about to pay $1 billion in luxury tax so y'all can be a play-in team and get put out in the first round by Denver. That's not what I'm about to do as a team owner, right? We got rid of Bob Myers and Jordan Poole behind this Draymond Green punch that split this locker room up. So I'm saying, how you gonna feel about that when I find a trade partner for him, and we might not get a lot back for him? And I'm also telling Steve Kerr, Steve, I know you said you can't win without Draymond. I'm trading him. So I need to know, are you a coach that can actually put a team, if I put a team around Steph Curry that can come out here and compete on both ends of the floor for you, are you telling me that you can't coach a competitive team that's built around Steph because you don't have Draymond? And if the answer is yes, then that means you got to go with him. So I'm making massive changes if I'm the owner. I'm bypassing the GM because Dunleavy was just bought in to do something that Bob Myers wasn't willing to do. And I didn't know what that was at the time when I first did my first video on this. I said the reason why Bob Myers resigned is because one or two things. Either one, I knew it was a disagreement between him and Steve Kerr, or him and the owner, or both. Maybe Steve Kerr and the owner was on one side and Bob Myers was on the other side. So I didn't know what that was at the time. I said it's either Bob Myers is being told that they're moving on from Draymond and Clay, and Bob Myers, as a GM that's been there from the beginning with them, don't have the heart to trade them or cut them, or Bob Myers absolutely has the heart and the cojones, which I found out it would to be the truth, that he want to trade Draymond and Clay, but Steve Kerr and Joe Lacob won't let him. So he resigned. If you're not going to let me actually be the GM, then there ain't no point in me being here. He resigned. And that bull crap excuse that he gave that he need time more at home is false, because as soon as he resigned, he got a job working for ESPN, and he back at work, like he was as a GM. Right. So I knew it wasn't because he needed time off. He resigned because he wanted to get rid of Draymond and Clay, and they wouldn't let him. And that's the reason why Steve Kerr went straight to the podium after they got put out of the playoffs and was like, all right, well, it's the offseason now, and we need Draymond, because he was saying that publicly to let them know, I'm sticking by my guy Draymond, and I'm gonna go make sure he get this contract. So Bob Myers resigned. They put Dunleavy in there and was like, hey, I need you to re-sign Draymond. That's what we want to do. Do you agree? Yep, I do. Whatever. Thanks for the job, Joe Lacob. I do whatever you want me to do. And he's a yes man. So right now, Joe Lacob has been convinced by Steve Kerr, Draymond Green, Steph, and Clay that the future is the same thing as the past. He's saying, look, man, I know we old and washed up, but we're your future. Not these young guys you brought in. We're the future. Give us the money. And we go show you that nobody can win a championship without us. Right? It's been almost 80 years of basketball in the NBA. And I don't think Draymond was with all of them championship teams. So you can't possibly tell me with a straight face, man, we can't win without Draymond. Nigga, why not? Everybody else doing it. Why is Golden State the only team that need Draymond to win a championship? Everybody else winning the championship. You telling me you can't? You telling me Denver can build around Jokic without Draymond? Toronto can build and just add Kawhi and win it all. LeBron can. I mean, like seriously, like somebody got to make me help me understand what it means when you say we're not a championship team without Draymond. Well, make yourself a championship team without him because he's got to go. That's my thoughts on that, man. That's it, man. I just don't get it, man. But Cam Newton has got a lot of people up in arms about him about something he said. I'll play you what he said.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson, obviously Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, but Brock, they're not winning because of him.
He's not turning the ball over.
He's managing the game. And if we were to put that in its own right as game managers, Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, and really Dak Prescott. These are game managers. They're not difference makers.
And when you say game manager, I'm not asking you to go out and win the game. I'm just asking you not to lose.
Not to lose the game. Listen, motherfucker, I don't give a damn what you do. You don't have to score every time. You just don't have to throw a pick every time either. If we're going to really call a spade, a game manager is different than a game changer. Yeah.
Hey, game managers and game changers. Game managers and game changers. He's got a good point. I'm not even gonna lie. And a lot of people want to shoot the messenger. A lot of people want to reply back by saying, and these are people who took offense to Dak and Purdy being called a game manager. Not so much Golf and Tua, right? But there's a lot of people. I mean, it's the 49ers and the Cowboys. They got a lot of fans, and I think they got a right to push back on the Dak thing. I don't think Dak is a game manager. I think Dak is a very talented quarterback. He's got arm talent. He can throw it short, medium, long. It appears that he's got some know-how. He can read defenses. I don't think he's a game manager. I think he's a little bit more than that. A game changer, I don't think he's that either. So with Dak is like somewhere in the middle, right? He's more than a game manager, but game changers are obvious. Like those are the Peyton Mannings, the Aaron Rodgers, the Tom Brady, who started his career out as a game manager, which is funny, right? Which is why I think Purdy is in his progression. I think he's at the place where Tom was his first year with his first year starting for the New England Patriots when they won the Super Bowl. I think he's more on that. Like you put a great defense around him, you give him a run game and a simple game plan. We're gonna run, we're gonna play defense. Don't make no mistakes. I think that's what Tom Brady was, with sprinkling in a couple of elite throws where you can see flashes. But before you develop into this guy that's actually owning the league, like Tom Brady got to, it takes time and a lot of confidence in a lot of football. You got to see a lot of defenses in a lot of situations. And Purdy just hasn't seen all that stuff. And we haven't seen him in those situations where we can grade him. You get what I'm saying? Like until a person actually go and pass their driver's test and get that license and get graded in all the situations that whatever that state has. Like, I need to see you parallel park. I need to see you how you use your turret. Certainly, I need to see how you do safety, how you do your mirrors, and how you get on the highway, how you do your speed, how you brake. I need to see all of that stuff, right? You get what I'm saying? I need to see all of that. Now, if I see you drive and you do well in what you do, but I haven't seen you in all of those situations, I can't really grade you and say, here's your driver's license. So when you're giving out that game changer ID card or that game changer license, I gotta see you in these things. I can see you doing well in these situations, but I haven't seen you in everything, right? So you can't so I'm with Cam on that. Yeah, Purdy is not that, but I have seen golf in all those situations, and I don't like what I saw. So I'm not giving golf anything more than a game manager. Tua, I mean, I've seen him succeed with greatness as a receiver, but as soon as that receiver went down with an injury for a quarter, he couldn't move the ball. So am I giving him that license yet? That game changer license? I'm not giving it to Tua either. He can make all the throws and stuff like that, but there's a lot of guys that can make all the throws. Drew Bledsoe could make all the throws, right? But when you start grading him and putting him in all these situations, you know, he didn't get A pluses, B pluses, and all that stuff. Some of them was Fs, right? So Brady was a game manager for a while until we seen him. Oh man, it's a game-winning drive. Let's see how he handles this. Man, he went down there and got the field goal. We'll do it again. Another game, he did it again. Then he made a reputation of, hey, look, man, if you give Tom Brady too much time, he go drive down that field and they're getting a field goal. You get what I'm saying? We've seen him with an elite receiver like Moss. We've seen him without a receiver like Troy Brown. We've seen him with tight ends and no receiver like Gronkowski and Hernandez. You know, we've seen him with a run game. We've seen him in so many different sets. We've seen him without no defense. We've seen him without a team, period, carry. Then we seen him leave New England and leave his coach and then do the same thing in Tampa Bay. Like, come on, at this point, like that, like what Tom Brady has went through, what Peyton Manning has went through to get a title of a game changer, you can't give that out too easy just because you see somebody do something that Brady did once. Like you see Purdy come in and, oh man, he won the games, and that's what Brady used to do. So let's give him the same title we gave Brady. Nah, I'm not giving Purdy that title that easy. Now with Dak, I haven't seen him overcome those pressure situations. So I can't give it to him. I can't give him game changer. I can't give him that ID card. But he's a heck of a daggone player. He's a heck of a quarterback, but I can't grade him on I ain't seen him parallel park and do all that stuff yet. I ain't seen him do all that. You know, I seen him pull out the driveway, go to the store, come back. You know what I mean? And that's good. You know, that's better than somebody who don't know how to do all that stuff. So that's my thought on that. But for people to come out here and try to kill Cam Newton for saying it, by saying, oh, Dak had a better career than you and you was a game manager and you wasn't this and you wasn't that. Hey, you can shoot the message all you want, but it don't change the message. The message is if your quarterback is golf, you don't have a game changer. If your quarterback is Tua, Purdy, or Dak, you don't have a game changer. So I'm with Cam on that. But I'm also with the pushback on the Dak and the Purdy, because I think with more of them proving themselves, I think they can prove that they are game changers. They might be a game changer under their jersey. We just ain't seen it yet. You get what I'm saying? So that's my thoughts on that, man. I'm glad y'all came out and hung out with me for this episode, man. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Make sure y'all go check out Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code ManDownSports. Get that $100 match on your first deposit. Go win some money. I won some money last night. I picked my 5 pick'ems was Kevin Durant, 6 rebounds. He got 6 rebounds on the dot. It was Devin Booker with points, rebounds, and assists. He went over on that. It was I can't remember the other ones. Bradley Beal, 2 threes. Bradley Beal for 2 3-pointers. He got that. And the one I missed on was Mikal Bridges getting a block. He didn't get a block last night. I thought he would, with them long arms, I thought he'd at least block a couple of jump shots or layups, with contesting. He didn't. Cam Johnson got 2 blocks though, but Mikal Bridges didn't get the blocks, and so I missed out on making I could have made I want to say about $2,000 on that one. I only put in 50 to try to win 2,000, and I didn't get all 5. I only got 4, which I only got $100 for it. So I doubled my money, but I didn't get all 5. So, but that's how easy it is, man. Just go in there, check out Underdog Fantasy, man, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy sports. I want to tell you about the easiest way to get in on some NBA action with Underdog Fantasy and their pick'em game. Just find your favorite player, or any player for that matter, pick higher or lower on that player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in one night. Pick between 2 or 5 players to fill your pick'em entry. Get every pick right, and you can net yourself some serious cash. Use the promo code ManDownSports, and you can get your deposit doubled up to $100. You got to check on the map to make sure your state is eligible to play Underdog Fantasy. But as soon as you do, and if your state is, go ahead and download Underdog Fantasy's app. Use the promo code ManDownSports, and you can, like I said, you can get that $100 match on your first deposit. And I would want to thank Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring Man Down Sports.